Hello everyone, this is Mrs. McCreary with arithmetic today. Today we're going to be talking about multiplying compound numbers. We're still working from elementary treatise, and today we are focusing on section 105. So the rule in section 105 says to multiply two numbers together, one of which is compound, make the compound number the multiplicand, and the simple number the multiplier, and beginning with the lowest denomination of the multiplicand, multiply it by the multiplier, and divide the product by the number which it takes to make one of the next superior denomination, putting down the remainder, add the quotient of the product of the next denomination to the multiplier, reduce this sum, putting down the remainder and reserving the quotient as before, proceeding in this manner through all the denominations to the last, which is multiplied like a simple number. So what that means is we're going to multiply our compound number by our simple number, keeping in mind those conversions between the different denominations of units. So in this first instance we have feet and inches. So as we start with our multiplying our inches, we're going to keep in mind that 12 inches are in a foot, and we're going to then convert that over and work with it basically the same as you would do any other multiplication. So let's go ahead and rewrite this. So we have 4 feet 8 inches times 8. So 8 times 8 is 64. 64, here we get the dividing part. 64 divided by 12 is going to give us 5, the remainder of 4. So we're going to take that 5 and put it over here because we have 8 sets of 8 inches. That's going to give us 5 feet and 4 inches. And then now we have 8 times 4 is 32 plus 5 is 37 feet. And then if you wanted, you could convert this 37 feet into yards depending on what you needed to do. Alright, so for the next example, we're going to talk about when our number gets a little bigger and a little bit more unwieldy. Now 20 is not so difficult, but we'll use it for this example. So what we're going to do when we have a larger multiplier that it's not so easy to just multiply and work with in your head so much, we're going to break it into its factors. So for this example, we're going to multiply by 4 and we're going to multiply by 5. So we'll actually be doing a two-step problem here. And again, it's not so difficult for something like 20, but if you're doing something like 35, where you can't do that multiplication in your head, break it into its factors and multiply through twice or however many times you need to get through all the factors. So we have 16 feet 3 inches times 4. And nicely enough, that gives us 12 inches. That gives us 12 right there. So we're going to have no inches over here and put a 1 here. So 16 times 4. 6 times 4 is 24 plus 1 is 25. And 65. So then we're left with 65 feet that we're going to then multiply by 5. And then here, since we've already dealt with our inches, conveniently enough, we're just going to then multiply our feet. So 5 times 5 is 25. And again, if you needed to, depending on what you were doing, you could then divide by 3 and convert that into yards. All right, and then there are some times when you're going to have to be asked to multiply by something that is prime, that doesn't have easy factors. So what elementary treatise suggests is you look at this and say, well, you know, that's really close to 16, so this can break to 16 plus 1, and this can then factor into 8 times 2. So we're going to take 6 hours, 17 minutes, 27 seconds times 8, take that product, multiply it by 2, take that product, and then add back in another set of 16 hours, 17 minutes, 27 seconds. So let's go ahead and work through that. Hours, 17 minutes, 27 seconds. And it doesn't really matter which factor you multiply by first. I'm just going to go ahead and multiply by 8 this time. That gives us 50. I'm going to have another line here just to keep my simple multiplication separate from my compound multiplication, if that makes sense. So that's 56. That's 16, 21. So I do my multiplication here. I get 216. I'm going to come over here, 216 divided by 60, because 60 seconds to a minute. So I want to know, out of this 216 seconds, how many minutes is that? So 380, 6. So I find out that it's 3 minutes and 36 seconds. Yeah. So I carry my 3 for my 3 minutes. Got my 36 seconds over here. And now I'm going to multiply my 8 times my 17. 8 times 7 again is 56. Oops. Then I add in that 3 and I get 59. 8. Okay, again going to, running out of space here. Okay, so 139 divided by 60, well, that's going to give me 19. So I take my 2, bring down my 19. 48, no, 50 hours. Okay, so there I multiplied by my 8. So now, next step, let's go with red, going to multiply by my 2, because that will get me to my 16. Okay, I put my 1 up here and a 12 down here because I know that 60 and plus 12 gives me 72. 19. 2, 3. Okay, so this ends up just being 39. And then 100 hours. Now at this point, if you wanted to, actually up here, you could have converted into days. At any point you can convert these hours into days. We'll go ahead and do that with our next step. So now we have to go ahead back up here and add in that 1, because remember we wanted 17 groups, and so far we've multiplied by 8 and multiplied by 2, which gets us our 16, but we need that one more set to get us to our 17. So our original number again was 6 hours, 17 minutes, and 27 seconds. Yes. And now we just add normally. And again, you could divide this by 24. Probably do 4. Four days, 10 hours, 56 minutes, and 39 seconds. All right, so you're just going to be multiplying each denomination, each piece, each unit by your simple number that you're multiplying it by, always converting to that next largest label, that next largest unit. Again, if you have a large number that you can't multiply easily in your head, you can break it into its factors and do 2 multiplication steps. The thing to remember there is that second time you're multiplying by the product, not by your original number again. Here in this example, remember we multiplied by our 50 hours, 19 minutes and 36 seconds by 2, not back to our 6 hours. And then if you do have something that's prime, look for a close number. You usually can just subtract 1, take the factors of that, do your factoring, do your multiplication with those factors, and then add in your original number again, and then again always remember to convert to whatever units you need to be working in.